Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com. It is Wednesday. It's December 7th. This will be our chart lesson for the day. And what looked like was going to be a slow week. Um, Trading range early on here. You can see early on we were in this range. Um, but really, from that point forward, um, once we broke out here, this thing was straight up and it was all day. And the main thing I want to point out about this rally or uptrend that started right here around 10:20 or so, is that once it started going up, if you bought any pullback correction, um, you couldn't lose. It was easy going. I mean, this is a strong trend. When you see lots of little bars like this, and there's dojis all mixed in there, and lots of stems, but it just keeps going higher and higher, that is a strong trend. And just look, anytime there was a correction or a pullback, I mean, pretty much any of them, if you bought them, they were a winner. This is about the only one here late in the day. Um, but that correction wasn't really over if you just drew your trend line and waited till it made a higher low or something outside that, then you were good to go. Same thing here. Once you got your break and it made a higher low, you were good to go. Coming down, once you got your break here and it made a higher low, you're good to go. Same thing here. Coming down here, you made a higher low, you were good to go. Right here, coming down, you get your breakout, you make um, even though this didn't break lower, it still made a lower high, so it's the same thing basically. Right here, even you're going sideways, but you try to go lower twice, and then off it goes. So just remember that when you see this kind of trend with lots of bars, and the only thing that kept me from being scared to get in here is earlier I was looking at this channel coming up, the darker blue, and you can see it's a valid channel, and you can see it coming into play right there. But once prices broke through it, man, they were off to the races. So I was a little hesitant to enter any of these. And even here, I was still hesitant to enter. So really, if you didn't catch this one down here at the breakout area, um, you may not have caught this one. If you noticed this channel and you saw this trend line and you understood that's why it bounced right there, um, I'd probably be okay with you entering there. But notice we got a channel, a little trend line working down there. I'll show it a little closer to you in a minute, but there's no break of that yet. It is a second entry long though, and anytime you enter without that break and then waiting on something, higher low or correction, new low, and it's, at this point, this was still a trading range, so it's really scary going long even right there. So, but let me back out where we can see it a little better, and we'll talk about the trades. But you can see early on, this is a range. There's no doubt about it. It's a range, and it's very clear. This is probably a little lower. And so you're just looking for reasons to get long here, off this low or possibly short off the high. And of course, when I came in, we were working down and had just, there's a close outside there, but it's so close, I'd be leery of trying to. This is right around 7 o'clock here, so this would have been the first point you'd start looking for a new trade. You finally get a higher low here, but look how bearish that bar is, and then that one's not much better. Then it breaks higher. Then you got a second entry short, but you don't have a lot of room to get out before here. This is the one you're more concerned about, but since we had a low here, you had to worry about coming back down there. So if you did get short there, once we went sideways twice, I would have just taken whatever would give me a tick or a break even or whatever. Um, and then again, it's tempted to go long, but then you're going long right into a double top, which that's not too smart. There's not much room there at all. And you see what would have happened. You would have got stuck. Then it comes back down. And you don't have room to get out. So you just got to sit this one out. You might have made a mistake early over here, but once you realize that this thing is this flat and their highs are here and your lows are here, you can only get in at some very low lows. This one was tempting, but I think you better wait on a higher low or a double bottom or something, and that doesn't come to here. And this one actually went lower and then turned and went out the upper side, so you could get in right there at that same spot. So I like entering there. Maybe you give that one a green one, but even then, um, I'm a little leery of it. But you notice we have bounced multiple times there, so um, that probably deserves a green one. But again, I think you're better off to wait and see if you get the double bottom or a higher low, and you get that right here in a nice bar. Even if you waited on this bar, I'm okay going along there because if you've got room to get out here, depending on what your bar looked like. If you didn't have room to get out with a stop, let it break higher and see if you can get a little better limit order. And if you caught this trade, these are the one times that I'm interested in looking for a runner because you're probably going to the other side. And if you get lucky and you catch the low of the day, you can ride this thing all the way out. And turns out that's the low of the day. I doubt I'll ride this out past here when it looks like the range is going to hold. But that's still a nice move from the low to the high here. And of course we get up here and notice we got a channel working back up, and that's the first break of it. Then we move to a new high, and so that's your first bar, and it's not a very good one. Then you get a little higher low here, only 2 ticks right off the high. You might take that one, but again, look, we're going sideways, so you got to be very, very careful about entering there because it may do just like here, break, turn down and turn back up, and then go right back to here again. Just like you could have, would have got trapped down there, you might get trapped right here. I don't have a line there, but you can see the support right across there. So you got to be careful getting short into that. So I'm only willing to give that one a green one. But notice that is a new high, and you're moving down first entry, and then you pull down second entry. So if by chance you drew this trend line across here and drug it down and saw how well it fits, and it bounces to the tick right there, I like going long. Plus you can treat that like a failed break lower, and there's room to get out before you get back to here. You got to be concerned about the trend line though. There's no break of that and then new low, but you may not have got a new low, but you should at least probably got a test, and it doesn't come to low here, and notice that trend line holds. So I'm not crazy about that one, even if you saw this, because there's no break of that trend line. And even though it worked this time, the next time it probably doesn't work and you get burned. So the rules will tell us that while nothing is 100%, the rules tell us that 90% of the time, if we follow the rules, we're going to be right 90% of the time. And of course, there's always that 10% that or so that you get fooled and you just have to watch it go without you. So, and this is one of those cases where you just probably need to watch it go without you. And then once again, it starts going sideways. And it looks like it's probably going to be a range day, and we may just fail and go lower. But what I liked here was when it bounced here again, that really confirmed that trend line for sure. But it's right back into that EMA. But when it tries it again and fails and goes higher, I like that because this is a triple top, so this is like a new high, first entry, pullback, second entry, and then it turns down again and then turns back up. I mean, and notice how the closes are getting higher. I like this. If you don't see this trend line, I don't like this, but if you see this trend line, I like this one for a long. And it's very low risk. There's only a couple of 3 ticks there. And if you caught that one, you're in business, because this is where you're going to look for a runner maybe, hoping that you're going to at least get a measured move. The first thing I'm looking for is this move. And you can see we found a little resistance right in that area. But I think that was more related to this upward trend channel line than it really was this being a measured move up. For some reason, the buyers came in and they liked this rally. But notice what this is also right here. You've got, this is basically, can be treated as a double bottom, and you're moving up. You get a first entry short, and then you get a second entry short. But you don't want to go long there, even though that can be treated like a trap. Look at all those highs. But then you get a little breakout pullback and it goes higher. And so that's the reason I like that one. It actually gives you another little test of it right here. But when this one didn't take off, I was leery of this one. So I don't think you want to add on there for sure. But you might if you didn't enter this first one, you might enter there, because it is a lower high. It just never broke lower, so I think this is just more of the sideways stuff. But it is a little lower high, and then this thing takes off again. But I'm just real leery entering into that trend line, and so that's why I really don't even like marking this one for a second chance. This one's tempting, and it does kind of confirm that trend line right there that you drew off those first few closes. And you can see you even get another one here. You might have considered, one thing you might have considered is finding your measured distance, thinking, hey, maybe this is two-tiered. You can see that right there. And so it does kind of fit that bill right there. So on this little breakout right here, you might have entered on that, thinking that this is maybe a two-tiered channel. So I'm willing to give it green too. But past that, I don't think you want to enter here. And then notice what happens. We shoot right through it again. And you get a first entry, then a pullback, and a second entry. So you get another second entry long right there. But hopefully if you saw this lighter blue channel here and you drug this up, you're thinking, hey, maybe this is two-tiered and we're going higher here. And that's what it does. It goes exactly to that line, tests it a couple times, and it backs up. By this time, it's obvious this is a very strong trend. And the reason I like this one, again, you've got that same trend line, but it breaks below and gives you that. And that's almost that repeat pattern of what we kind of had right here before it took off the last time. Notice we're going sideways. You got the trend line working down, and you get that little break out of the channel. Same thing here. You got the trend line coming down, and you get that little break out of the, when I said channel, I meant range right there, the little congestion area. It's a repeat pattern. And so I like that one. This is a strong trend now. It's obvious. All these little bars and lots of little dojis. And then notice what happens here. This is a new low. It's lower than that one. So first entry, second entry, there's your trap. We're probably going higher. And if you see those failed second entries all the way up on a day like this, just take them. There it is. Boom. It takes off again. And we're working higher, and then there you come. You're correcting. And this is actually a double top here. So first entry, and then pull. You get a lower high. Again, it doesn't break lower, but this is a strong trend, so people are just buying. And then your second entry right there, because it is a lower high. Off it goes again, another easy scalp, and then there's your another correction. In this case, you get a close outside a new low, and one tick lower. I like that one. Just go long right there. That met your rules. And that's the first close outside this bigger channel. Then there's your another correction. Of course, now you're into the 2 o'clock hour, so we're not interested. But there it is. There's your correction. There's your first high or low. You could have gone long again. And then another correction, your first close outside, your high or low, you could have gone long again. So generally you're better off to wait on that high or low or the failed second entry short or whatever. But yeah, that is just a strong trend. A couple of people sent me an email today saying they don't like these kind of days. It's so confusing. But it doesn't get any easier than this. Just remember, when you see all these little bars like this and lots of dojis in there and not very big corrections, and it just keeps going higher and higher, that's a strong trend. And just look for a correction and a reason to get in. And generally just wait on the correction and then wait for the first high or low or whatever. There was one right there. Of course, you get your trap right there, and there's your break, and there's your first high or low. It never ticked lower, but it's the same thing. You actually get a lower high right there. Then here's one, and if you waited on your next high or low, that would have been here. could have gone long. And then there's your next one. There's your higher low. It go long. So just remember that. And really, on a day like this, you're just looking for any reason to get in. If you see any second entry or any failed second entry, any bounce off the key entry point, you probably go long. And usually the bars are small anyway. I mean, all of these bars where the entries are, they're only 2 or 3 ticks, so they're real low risk entries. I mean, it just doesn't get any better than that. So I love these kind of days. So I hope you had a good trading day today and didn't get too confused right in here. I mean, this was one of those days where you just had to, I mean, really before 10:15, there's only 2 trades that I see I like here. I mean, it was a hard day until it started taking off, and then even then you had to wait till later in the day before you knew exactly what was going on, um, and could take some solid trades. So yeah, even though it's a strong trend, it's still not an easy one to read. So that made it a little harder today, in my opinion. But just remember what I talked about. When you see all these little bars that just keep going higher and higher and higher, and lots of dojis mixed in and stems, that's a strong trend. So you have to trust it and say, hey, if I want to get in, I got to enter. Wait for a correction and then enter. And again, even if you miss it, your time is not exactly right. The bars are real small, and it's easy to make up you could actually miss a couple of times and then catch one and just let it go. This is where you want to try to get runners too, or just hang on for a swing trade, whatever you're comfortable with. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow. Believe it or not, tomorrow's already Thursday. Wrap up another week, but I'm gonna finish up for today. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.